All right, we're going to keep moving right along. Then we're going to jump into the Going Free lesson of the day, which is the biospirit. What is it? How does it get injured? And then we will address, Naderific brought this up to me, that an MP that is new to him. And I don't think I have heard it, actually. If I have, it has long since flooded away, probably when I was punched in the face or after a severe collision on the football field. And suddenly it's like, where did my piano lessons go? And they're gone. So instead, we will nonetheless address this. Naderific brought this up. We had the Love is Blind MP, and he shared that he finds anti-whites these days saying love is love. And we will address that toward the end of this first segment of Going Free, which we will try to keep to 1 hour to 1 hour and a half at maximum. Page 24, second edition, iteration 1, Go Free, ladies and gentlemen. Meme, pathogen, infection, multiracialism, and biospiritual injury. How do we quantify the human soul? How does the human mind create consciousness? Answer these questions, and you'll have the tools with which to fully understand the biospirit. So make sure you listen up. If you are having to translate this into another language, into another one of our glorious languages, make sure you get the definition so that you can, with however many or however few sentences, explain to those in your country, to those who speak your language, exactly what the concept means so that they can then use it. A biospirit is the, as yet, incomprehensible force unique to each people. Its mysteries can be crudely defined as instinct, the natural, historic, and expected thought and behavioral patterns, personality patterns distinct to a people. Every people has a broadly recognizable expression. A people's biospiritual expression projected onto their environment is their culture. Now, of course, what we're talking about here is in its aggregate. And of course, what we're saying here is subjected to CNN and any of their opinions on these things. Should they agree or disagree, we will submit to their infinite wisdom. Nevertheless, each race, according to Going Free, each race of man has a beautiful biospirit, none better than the others, but they all are beautiful and nonetheless quite different. And one of the ways that you are able to witness or see these differences in the world around you is that each individual of any particular biospirit projects that biospirit onto their environment. That projection in the aggregate of all of those individuals is what we call culture. It's why everywhere Western kind goes, we create Western civilization. Maybe not the best of the civilizations available out there, but certainly the one that we prefer, or that most of us prefer. And also one that many other races prefer as well, as demonstrated by their endlessly coming to our wonderful countries. And the doors, as you know, are wide open. Not even a doormat for them to wipe their feet. How do we know that culture is the biospiritual projection of a race of people? We see it, and we have always seen it. Westmen produce Western civilization. Asians produce Asian civilization. Africans produce African civilization. I'm going to skip a couple segments here because the ear is against the door. The ear is against the door. I will say, though, that, let's see, does it actually come up here? Maybe it does. Maybe, oh, I know it does, but I think I was going to be summarizing. You might have a question about what is it, why is it that when you have other peoples, beautiful peoples, wonderful peoples from around the world with different biospirits, they come into the West. Why is it that you don't see this change? You live in Mayberry, and you have one wonderful non-white person in your town. Why is it that he or she has not begun to change your environment? Well, it's a matter of the numbers and something we call numerical courage. that individual or the individuals that move in are afflicted with numerical diffidence at that point. They are intimidated by the size of the host population, the new population that they have moved into. I think we could rightly, at least initially, call it the host population. And they are intimidated by those numbers. They're also probably to a degree, and certainly some of them this way, to a significant degree, they don't feel like changing everything when they show up somewhere. They came to the place because they like it, and they don't want to remake it into the place that they left. Just as you would not want to show up at someone's home and begin remaking the interior, pulling down some of the drapes you don't like, or the mirror that doesn't work, or whatever it might be, putting up a giant portrait of yourself on a rearing horse like I have. You don't want to do those kinds of things. And you don't want to do those kinds of things because your host won't be very happy with you. Your host might decide to kick you out. But what happens when you have shown up and you're at someone's house and you say, well, can I stay with you for a while? I'm just going to live with you for a little while. And actually, you know what? I'm going to bring a couple of my friends, and then your friends move in. And now there's a significant number of you. Maybe it's a family of, let's say, just to round out this analogy, say it's a family of like 11. And you now have like 7 of your friends there. Well, the family has a father and a mother in this case. And then all of the children are quite young. And your 7 of you are all males of fighting age. Well, now you have numerical courage. Now you feel like you can tell the homeowners what it's going to be like in their house because you can throw your weight around. And if the host is timid, if the host is diffident, if the host allows you to push him and her around, then you won't even have to get to 7. Maybe you'll only need 1. Maybe if you are a really arrogant SOB and the host is very timid, well, it may only take one of you to begin to transform their home into something that you like rather than the way they made their home. So you can see that it is a matter both of numbers, but also of biology. And on top of that, it is a matter of what the group of people's ideas do to them. Do their ideas empower them? Do their ideas make them weak? We can think of a couple of religions in the world that really empower their adherents to be very radical, to really want to transform. You can say, as a consequence, and we will say, that the exact same population of individuals practicing that religion, if they did not have that religion, if they were atheists, or if they had a religion that made them weak, they would take far more of their number in your society before they would achieve numerical courage. Does that all make sense now? Does it make sense why the handful of this group of people, that they are very complimentary, that they absolutely let you have your way in your town, your civilization, that they try to make no change, but then suddenly overnight something happens. You can't know, it's unknowable exactly where that's going to be. Certainly maybe in some southern towns in the United States where people are still quite proud of their Southern heritage and have a firm identity, it's going to be harder to push those white people around. They're the ones that when things don't look right, suddenly the pickup trucks roll down Main Street and they're sitting in the flatbeds with their rifles and the rest, this right to self-defense that the anti-whites want to take away from them. I wonder why. But you go elsewhere and you find very intimidated, effete, weak, pathetic white people, and irrespective of how many their numbers are present, they're ready to roll right over to whoever shows up with a loud mouth and is screaming or whatever it might be. You all have witnessed this. This is how this happens. This is what you need to have on your lips when you're discussing this issue about biospirit. What is the biospirit? How is it different for the different races of man? Equally beautiful in every single case. You need to have this on your lips so that you can explain, because that will be the number one question that they're going to have about, well, if they're If they come in, why haven't they changed here, or they have changed there? Do not resort to saying just Chinatown. That is an example of enclaving. It is an example of biospiritual courage, but it is not by any means anywhere close to the transformation that takes place in a society as a consequence of having competing biospirits. And you heard me right. It is impossible to have biospirits in the same environment without competition. Why? Because the projection, the behavior, and this is the clumsy or lowbrow way or easy way to understand biospirit, is to refer to it as instinct. Just like you have different types of the same species of animal, and you can see very different instincts among the different types of the same species of animal, the same holds true for all animals on planet Earth. So you have an issue where it is impossible. You can only fake that you are going with the flow. You can only pretend, and after a while, though, once your group has numerical courage, you then begin to just automatically transform so that your environment harmonizes with your biospirit. This is very complicated for human beings to understand, because understanding ourselves is not an easy thing. It's not like understanding the behavior of a hummingbird versus this type of hummingbird. We have to appreciate that our projection, our instinct, the things we say, well, this is normal. This is what is normal. Well, it's normal for us and normal for them, and them over there are different things. It's why the architecture looks different. That's why the relationships between human and animal are different, between superior and subordinate are different. That's why all of these things are different, because all of this complexity is the creations, the projections, the complications of the human mind, its ability to be so far beyond that of the hummingbird versus this hummingbird. You can easily say, well, this type of hummingbird chooses this type of nesting material, and that one chooses that type of nesting material. It's far harder to parse. You have to be far brighter to be able to see when we're talking about human dynamism, human civilizational creation, human culture. You have to be far brighter to be able to turn that magnifying glass around and look at yourself. This is exactly what is happening. And in every case in human history, since antediluvian times and beyond, infinity and beyond, as the cartoon character said on the commercial, we have incidents of different biospirits, different groups of people being in proximity, nearness, and immediately you end up in where they all have the courage to express, they have numerical courage, they have the courage to express that biospirit on their environment. You end up with a cultural arms race. We talk about very often, and a cultural arms race like we have here in the United States never ends well. There's no such thing, and never say multiculturalism. That is a mean pathogen. It's multiracialism. You have a biospiritual disharmony when you have a person in an environment that is not the creation of their instincts.